What's up you guys, Anthony here again with my next video. Today we're going to talk about the power of compound interest and how to use that power to turn $1 into $24. Now I want to start out with what this video is not about. It is not me trying to get you to invest in some get-rich-quick scheme. It's not me trying to get you to give me money because I get absolutely no proceeds from this whatsoever. This is going to be a step-by-step guide on how to invest your money in order to get the returns that you want to see on it. Now, again, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is going to take time, but this has historically been proven to work. Lots of people use this method. They use compound interest to get their money, and it's something that I personally use. So first, let's talk about index funds, specifically the S&P 500. What is the S&P 500? It's basically a conglomerate of the top 500 companies within the United States. It was put together by the investors on Wall Street so that investors could invest in more than one stock at one time and diversify their portfolios without having to manage individual stocks. So basically, the way it works is you buy one share of the S&P 500 and you are invested in the top 500 companies within the United States. Now, historically, the S&P 500 has always beaten the average market returns. Even during the crash of 2008, it still showed returns over the long term. So for example, if you were to take $1 today and invest it into the S&P 500 and just leave it there, not even invest anything else, but just take the returns that you get and reinvest it, then you would get $24 after 40 years. Now this is based on the historic performance of the S&P 500 since its implementation, which has been about 8%. However, that's been increasing in recent history, especially with the technology and tech companies and software companies. So recently, specifically within the last 10 years, the S&P 500 has achieved an 11% return rate. And the good news is that the S&P 500 is not the only index fund that you can invest in, but it's one of many of these, and it's a really great tool for building your wealth and investing your money and getting the maximum return you can on that money. So how do I see this? So for example, I see this as potential for future money. So right now, every $1 that I have or every $1 that I spend is basically $24 in future money. So an example of this, right? I don't like to go to coffee shops to buy coffee because it's, well, one, everybody knows it's expensive, but for example, if you buy a $5 Starbucks coffee, that is actually costing you $120 in future money. Is that really worth it? Is it really worth it to spend that much money on coffee when in reality it's costing you even more in the long run because it's money that you don't invest? Now what would happen if you reinvested that money that you use on Starbucks, $5 a day? Or maybe not even that much. The average American actually only spends $60 a month on coffee from coffee shops. Now if you took that money, the $60 a month, and invested it into the S&P 500 at that interest rate with dividends reinvested, you would have over $209,000 in 40 years. This is from $60 a month. So everybody wants a step-by-step guide. Everybody wants to know exactly how to do this. And ultimately, it breaks down to some pretty simple steps. The best time to invest is now. And these steps entail: invest your money, do it as much as you can, for as long as you can, as consistently as you can, and you will see dividends. Now the reason I say invest your money now is because if you were to wait, for example, to invest that Starbucks money that we talked about earlier, if you were to wait 10 years to start investing that money, at the same time period, it would only be invested for 30 years, and your grand total would only be $89,000. So you ultimately go from $209,000 that you could have if you invested all the money right now for 40 years, or you could only have the $89,000. Now, This is basically you saying, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and pass on the extra $120,000. I don't need it. It's totally fine. And all it takes is to stop spending money on for something as small as Starbucks and investing it into index funds. There's a saying that goes, the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time to invest is right now. So again, ultimately, all you need to do is invest your money now, invest as much as you can for as long as you can, and you will see some huge returns when you're older. So how do I know this works? Well, one, because it's been historically proven and people make money off of this, and I am one of those people. Now, I started in 2008 investing 8% of my gross income. Now, some of this was a little bit diversified. Not all of it went into index funds, but I just wanted to start investing as soon as I possibly could. I think I was 21 years old at the time. Basically, every time I got a raise or a promotion, I would invest an additional 1% of my gross income into my retirement account, which was mostly index funds. Now, I'm at 14%. I invest 14% of my gross income into that account that is diversified over several index funds. And I do it before the money even hits my checking account, so I don't even miss the money. And I like doing it this way because it doesn't tempt me to spend that money on other things like Starbucks coffee.
Now, I get it. Putting your money away for 40 years, that's not a very easy thing to do. It's a lot easier said than done. And I can totally personally understand that. So me, I'm a car guy, right? I love American muscle cars. And a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to buy my dream car. It was a 2015 Camaro Z28, and I had the money sitting in my bank account, and I had originally planned to invest it. And there was a few nights where I would lay there and I would just think about, man, should I just drop this money and buy this car? And it would be so awesome, I could be doing burnouts on the freeway, and it would be so awesome just to have my dream car. But I knew, in reality, that money, the money that I would spend on that car, would not be worth the 24 times that much money in the future. This was a really difficult thing for me to do, but I ultimately made the decision to not buy the car, obviously, and I invested the money, and now that money is making me more money. So, again, leaving your money in an account for 40 years and letting it build and letting it gain interest it's not for everybody, and it's not the easiest thing to do. It's going to be difficult and it's going to take discipline. But you have to ask yourself do you have what it takes to do that, to make yourself financially independent and to retire early? You just have to remember that the money that you invest now will literally pay dividends in the future. So instead of buying that car now or buying that Starbucks coffee now, you invest that money and you'll be able to buy the things that you want later on in life. And maybe, if you do it right, maybe not all that too much later. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got something out of it. Please remember to hit the like button and go ahead and subscribe so that way you don't miss any future content. I'm going to be releasing more videos on finances and saving and investing and maybe some real estate videos. So yeah, please subscribe so then that way you can keep up with what I'm doing. Thanks.